Okay, I guess we will get started. It's now 3 o'clock Eastern Time, and my name is Mark with LeagueAthletics.com, and I'm going to go through the setup of seasons, divisions, and teams on your website to help you get a better understanding of how those things interact and how you should be setting those up within your site. Now, regardless if you are an existing organization with League Athletics or you have a brand new League Athletics website, you're going to need to set up seasons first and then go on to set up your divisions and teams. You'll create seasons every year or however often your seasons come up, but you'll need to create them every time you want to create a new set of divisions or teams. So I'm already on the seasons section here. I'll show you how I got there. Sorry about that. Okay, so what I did is I went to the once I logged in, I went to the admin section. I went to teams, and then we went to seasons here. Um, in the seasons area, it's going to list all of the current or past seasons that you might have had. If you have a new website, nothing is going to be in here yet. So the first thing we'll do is we'll click on Add New Season. And this is going to allow us to define a season's name and the start and end date. So you're always going to need to have a start date and an end date for your season. Even if you don't know the exact end date, you should probably put it out a month or a week later than you think the season will go. And you can always come back and adjust it later on. On the previous page, you can see how I laid out my seasons. You can see I've got 2014, 2013, 2012. That's kind of how I recommend doing it, putting a season for one entire year. But if you have fall, winter, spring seasons, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and put them as well if you'd like to. But I always do it. If it's a single sport, then I would say probably just do it for a full year. It'll make it a lot easier on you. But really, you want to keep your seasons as generic as possible, giving it a name like 2014 or a name like fall 2014 or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new season here. I am going to go ahead and go with the fall 2014 naming convention here. And then I'm going to put my start date as September 1st, and then we're going to put an end date out to, let's say, November 30th here. And then I'll go ahead and click Submit to save that. So this is going to go ahead and create that new season for me here, fall 2014. And now that I've created a season, the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and create divisions or leagues or teams. You don't have to create divisions and leagues to add teams, but it's nice because it'll help you organize your team structure. So now I'm going to go up to the admin section here, and I'm going to go to teams and then the divisions and teams area. And it's going to default me to my 2014 season because that's the season that's currently open in my website. So I want to jump over to this fall 2014 season here to take a look. Now, whenever we have a new season that we've created and we get to this screen, it's going to ask us if we want to copy our teams over from a previous season that we've created. So in this case, if I just wanted to pull everything forward, all of my teams, all of my rosters, things like that, I could go ahead and select the 2014 season that I had originally. I could select the options down here, and I could just pull everything forward. And what that'll allow me to do now is, create my teams for me. It'll have my rosters intact. It'll have my management intact. And then I could go in and just edit those individual team names if I wanted to do that. But in this case, I'm going to start fresh, and I'm going to create new teams for this season. Now, one thing to note is that when you create divisions and leagues within your website, they are going to persist throughout all of the different seasons that you have. Even if you don't use them, that's okay. They're going to show up for you in each season that you create. So, for example, in my 2014 season, I had a boys 9-10 division, and let's say I don't want to use that in this fall 2014 season. I can add a new league or division here by clicking the new league or division option up in the top right corner, and I can go ahead and specify a new division name. So here were the ones that we originally had in our past seasons. I'm not going to use any of those. I'm going to go ahead and go with a girls 9-10 division. I can go through and set my create my settings here. So basically, this is going to be a child of the root of the site. So it's not going to be a subdivision. It's not going to be a subconference of any of these. It's going to be its own top level division. So I'll leave root selected there. If you're connected to Arbiter Sports, you can go ahead and plug in your Arbiter ID here. Click that lookup button, and it will allow you to connect this division to your Arbiter Sports account for officials assigning. Over on the standings tab here, this is where we can tell the system how we want standings to be calculated for this division. So in this one, I'm going to show all teams in the standings. I'm going to rank them by their winning percentage, and then I might say goals for is perhaps going to be my secondary tiebreaker there. Down here, I can pick and choose what things I want to do with the standings page. So if I want to show games behind, I can certainly do that. If I want ties to count as losses, I can include that as well. Essentially, what that's going to do is if somebody doesn't report a score to you, it's going to show it as a loss for them on those in that standings table. And here's that other option: count unreported games. So basically, if there's a 0-0 game, it's going to show that as a loss unless they go ahead and report the score to you. We can also count interleague play. This is going to be something that you're going to do if you had like a North and a South division, or you had an East and a West, or American and National Conference. You might want to count those games that they play. Count in the standings. You might want to count those games that the American and National teams play against each other. And then if you want to customize the appearance of this division, you can certainly do those things, changing the background image, banner image, background colors, etc. when somebody would navigate to one of these division pages. So I'll go ahead and click Submit here. This will save our girls 9-10 division and make sure I'm in that fall 2014 season. And real quick, I'm just going to close my 2014 season so we don't keep running into this issue of defaulting back there. And so this, let me jump back here. Now this actually outlines a good way to go ahead and show how to edit a season. So I went back into the seasons area. I've got my 2014 season. You can see that it's always going to default back to my oldest current season. So this season started on January 1st, but I have it set to go out till December 31st. And so it's always going to default me back to that when I'm changing settings. So for now, I want to close it to a date that's before September 1st here. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this, and I'm just going to close it out as of August. So let's set that to August 31st and submit. So now our 2014 season is going to be closed. Our fall 2014 season should be open now. So if I go back to divisions and teams here, okay, so now we're on our fall 2014. And just to illustrate what I was saying earlier about the divisions, you can see how the boys 9-10, all-star, girls, boys 11-12, and boys 13-14, all of those divisions are shown here now, even though I hadn't created that for this season. They're just going to come over from your previous seasons. If you're not using any of them, don't worry about them. They're not going to show on your website for this season at all. They'll only show on the website for this season if you decide to put teams inside of those divisions. And you can see that over on the right side here, we can edit all of these, but we can only delete the girls 9-10 because I've never used that girls 9-10 division before and it doesn't have any teams in it. So if I wanted to delete these, I'd have to go back into all my previous seasons, delete the teams from those divisions, then I could remove them altogether. But like I said, don't worry about them. As long as you don't have teams in them, they're not going to show on the website to the public there. Okay, so now I've got my division set up that I wanted. I wanted my girls 9-10 division in this fall 2014 season. Now I have the option to go ahead and add teams, and to do that, I'll just click on Options and then Add New Team. Now we get into the new team settings here. I can go ahead and name this team. I'm just going to call it the Hawks. We want this team to be part of the fall 2014 season, and they are going to be in the girls 9-10 division. So we've got those things picked. When we go ahead and submit this, you'll see the team show up underneath of that division. Some other options down here for you. If they have a nickname, you can plug that in here. If you want to give them a power rating, you can also do that. Again, there's a Arbiter ID field that you can plug in. You can connect this team to your Arbiter account for officials assigning. If you have any parent leagues that this site is set up for, you would see those leagues here, and then you could find the teams in that website to connect this team to. When you did that, it would allow you to inherit all of the schedule information from that parent league that you connected to. So if you were part of a larger statewide league or conference, you could essentially have your own LeagueAthletics site, put your team in here, then connect to the league or conference at the state level, and you would inherit all the schedule information that they're plugging into their site, so you don't have to enter all the schedules on your own. So then we just want to walk through these tabs at the top to make sure we've got all the settings in place for this team. We can make sure this team is visible to the public, so that means when somebody comes to the site, they're going to be able to navigate to this team and take a look at the schedule and other information for the team. You want to have that turned on pretty much all the time. The only time you would probably want to have that turned off is if you were hiding the teams before you had finalized rosters or something like that. You might not want people getting to the team page. You might not want the public getting to the team page to see those things. Pretty much everything else here we're going to leave as the default. We want to show coaches and manager information on the team homepage, and I'll show you where that resides. Team pictures, you could protect them with a password with the login. You could also protect schedules with the login as well. But for people that just want to browse to the site and gather schedule information for their kids, you probably want to leave that unselected. Then over on the scheduling tab here, this is the what we're going to set up for the managers and coaches of the team to allow them to schedule events or not. So we could go down here where it says team managers can. Typically we want to select all of this stuff here. So we want to add games in practice, edit games in practice. We can allow them to add new event types. They just want to leave these middle two selected here. If we selected the first one here where it says add edit practices only, that means that they would only be able to add and edit practices, of course. So they wouldn't be able to modify any game information that you put onto their schedule. So this is nice if you want to allow coaches to create their own practices, but you or someone else is dictating the game schedule. But I'm going to go ahead and check these two things so they can do games and practices, and they're going to be able to modify those things as well. The home tab would allow you to specify what fields belong to this team. So if this team has a certain home facility that they play at as their home games, you could go ahead and find that within this pick list here and select those. Right now I'm just going to leave it completely wide open so they can play a home game basically anywhere. Some roster options here to pick and choose what we want to show on the roster pages. So we can show only names and jersey numbers on the public roster. We can show only the first letter of the players' last names, or we can go ahead and hide birthdays on the full contact roster. I'm going to show only their names and jersey numbers on the public roster for now. Down here are the bio sheet sections. So if you created bio sheets based on your registration data, you could connect one of those bio sheets here, and that would show up as a player profile when somebody clicked on the player's name. This is your statistics area, so this is where you're going to choose if statistics are going to be shown for this team or not. We can allow only managers of the team to see it. We can allow team members to see it, or we can make these wide open to the public for the public to see all the stats that this team has kept. Over here we can choose some sponsors if we've got them plugged in. Just select one in the list there, and then we can also modify the appearance of the site once somebody navigates to this team page. For example, if this was a league site and you had multiple teams with different colors, you may decide to change the background color of the site when somebody got into that team area. Okay, but for now we've got this team set up, the Hawks in the fall 2014 season, and it's in the girls 9-10 division. So I'm going to go ahead and submit that. Okay, so that added a team successfully for us. If I go back and take a look at my my settings here for the fall 2014 season, let's go ahead and close that up. Boys 11-12, boys 13-14. So now we've got our girls 9-10 division. We've got the Hawks team in here. They're public. They've got public rosters, which means only the name and jersey number are shown for the players. Our managers are going to be shown, and we're going to allow our managers to schedule events. Now let me go ahead and add another team real quick to this division. I'm going to call these the Bears, fall 2014, and girls 9-10, and I'll go ahead and submit that quickly here. Okay, so in our girls 9-10 division, we've got the Bears and we've got the Hawks, and you can see that the Bears have some different settings than the Hawks. So the Hawks have certain things turned on, the Bears have certain things turned off. Now we can modify both of these teams at once by going down to the bottom here, and we can click on Show Global Team Settings. So you'll see that both of these teams are selected here. So if I click on this, any changes I make here are going to apply to both of the teams because they're selected. So perhaps I wanted both of the teams to be public. I could turn that on. I could click Apply, and now both of these teams are going to have that public option selected. Now, they were already selected. So let's go ahead and change something here. So let's turn on public rosters for both of these teams. So we'll turn on that PR option. We'll click Apply. And now both of these teams will have that PR option selected. And that again means that just the names and jersey numbers of the players are going to be shown on the rosters. Now, alternatively, if we want to just modify, one of these teams, perhaps, the Hawks already have something turned on. We want to turn something on for the Bears as well, or off for that matter. We could go in here, click Apply, and it's just going to turn it on for that team. So now we've got the same settings for all of our teams here. Now, when we start creating these teams and we've made them public, it's going to start showing our season and our divisions on our website. So somebody would be able to navigate to our website as a public user. They could mouse over the teams and schedules area here, and they're going to finally be able to get to these team pages that are being created every time we add a team to the website. Now you can see that it's not listing out any of my season information or my division information, and that's because I only have one division with 2 teams in it. If I were to create another division and add teams to it, then our first level drill down would be that of the leagues or the divisions that we have. So let me demonstrate that quickly here. So I'm going to go to Teams, Divisions and Teams. I'm going to go to Options, and then I'm going to add a new league or division. And I'm going to call this Girls 11-12. It's going to be a top level division along with the Girls 9-10. So I'll just click Submit to save that. There's Girls 11-12 there. And now I'm going to add a new team into my Girls 11-12 division. I'm going to call this the Lions. And I'll submit to save. And if we go into our divisions and teams here, so now we've got a Girls 11-12 with the Lions in it, and we've got the Girls 9-10 with the Bears and Hawks in it. So now if we were to navigate up to the Choose a Team area, where a parent or player would navigate to see schedules and rosters, now we're going to see the first option is to choose which division we're going to navigate to, and then we see the teams within those divisions. Okay. Now, alternatively, you could have multiple seasons open. You may have your fall season that overlaps with your winter season. In that case, the first drop down here would then be your season selection. So you would see fall, and then you would see winter. And then inside of each of those seasons, you would then see your division selections, and then finally your teams would be there for you. Alternatively, someone can always just go to the Choose a Team area, or they can click on Teams and Schedules at the top of your website here, and they'd be able to navigate with these drop downs in the top right corner. And you can see that it defaults to Fall 2014 because that's our current season. We closed all of our other seasons. Fall 2014 is the current season that we have. And then we can go ahead and select a division, and then once we select a division, we can obviously then go ahead and select a team. Now, I've only got one team in this division, but if I were to go to Girls 9-10, then I would have the option to go ahead and select which team I wanted to navigate to. And once I did select a team, then I would be brought to that team's homepage here. Everything on the left now would pertain to this team, the Bears. If I switched to the Hawks, everything on the left looks the same, but now this is all going to pertain to the Hawks team. So for example, if I went to the schedule page, it would show me the Hawks schedule. I can also navigate into one of these pages, and then I can change up here. So if I just didn't want to flip back and forth, I could just change my teams up here, and now I would stay on the schedule page for the Bears, alternatively going to the schedule page specifically for the Hawks team. Okay, so let me just run down the setup again. To create these seasons, I went to the admin area, then I went to Teams and clicked on Seasons here. And we have a list of all of our seasons. And in order to create a season, I had to click Add a New Season. I plugged in the season name and the start and end date. And then if I wanted to edit a season, I could just come right back here, click on the edit icon for a specific season. I could modify the start and end date. I could modify the season name if I wanted to as well. Then once we got our season created, we can go back to the admin section, same area underneath of teams, we can click on divisions and teams. And then within the divisions and teams area, we can go ahead and create new divisions or a league. And we can do that using the options button up here. And we can also add new teams to those leagues or divisions by clicking the add new team option. Now we also talked about being able to select teams, changing global settings for all of those teams with that show global team settings button. We can also move teams in between divisions. So if you want to move somebody around, you can do a drag and drop if we wanted to. And that'll move that team up into that new division. You could also just go ahead and click on the team to edit them, or click on the edit button to the far right here. You could modify those team settings within there. Okay, so quickly I'm just jumping back to see if there's any questions or comments there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save this recording. I'm going to post it up to our YouTube channel, so you'd be able to take a look at it and refer back to it for information about setting up your different seasons, leagues, and teams. I'm Mark at League Athletics. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Just go to LeagueAthletics.com. You can go to the support page here and click on Contact Us, get all of our information, or send us a quick message through here. Otherwise, thanks for joining me. Hope it was helpful, and hope to see you soon. Thanks so much.